Let's talk a little bit more about the unit circle, and we're going to talk about how to use inverse trig. That is, we start with the trig ratio, and we need to find which angle or angles will give us that trig ratio. So what we're going to be looking at is find an angle between 0 and 360 whose sine is 1/2. Okay, so positive sine value. Remember our quadrants. Sine is positive there and there. So we know that this angle, this theta, must be in quadrant 1 or quadrant 2. Quadrant 3 and 4 will have sines equaling -1/2. Sine is the y-coordinate on our unit circle. Okay, so now we need to think about our reference angle. We need to think about which angle in quadrant 1 has a sine equal to 1/2, and what we're thinking to ourselves, hopefully, regardless of how you remember this unit circle business, is that's 30 degrees. You're like, yeah, I know that. I know the sine of 30 is 1/2. So on my graph, what that means is that I'll have one angle here, that's 30, but then there's another angle over here in quadrant 2 that also has a sine equal to 1/2. Now what is that? Well, we think about our reference angle. This reference angle is this little nugget of space right in there. It's 30 degrees less than 180. So that angle is 150 degrees. That's our second quadrant angle. That's that red one. Or our first quadrant angle is 30 degrees. And there we go. So let's take a more algebraic approach to looking at this problem. Let's say that the cosine of theta is equal to -√3/2, and theta is between 0 and 2 pi. This time we're talking radians, so nowhere in this problem should I hear any of you through my speakers muttering about these degree things. So, okay, cosine is negative. Where's the cosine negative? Well, the cosine is negative. If you need to draw a picture, cosine, all silly turtles crawl. Cosine is negative here and there. We know that we are only looking at quadrant 2 and quadrant 3. Now, for the time being, ignore the fact that it's negative and think, okay, which angle has cosine equal to √3/2 in quadrant 1. We're talking reference angle here, people. Reference angle. We need it. Okay, so cosine is √3/2. That is pi/6. Notice I didn't say 30 degrees because I'm dealing with radians. I'm going to get better with radians, so I'm forcing myself to deal with them, just like you guys need to be doing. So quadrant 2, quadrant 3, reference angle of pi/6. I'm going to draw a picture to help me sort this out. My first angle would be something like that. My second angle would be, let me change colors, would be in quadrant 3 looking like that. So how does this help me? Well, reference angle, that's the part in there and in there. So the green angle is 1 pi/6 less than pi radians. Well, pi is equal to 6 pi/6. What's 1 pi/6 less than that? Well, that's going to be theta is 5 pi/6. Or the blue angle, that's 1 pi/6 beyond pi radians. The blue angle is going to be 6 pi/6 plus 1 pi/6, or 7 pi/6. And there, ladies and gentlemen, are the two angles that give me a cosine equal to -√3/2. Big idea here, no matter what we're doing with the unit circle. You need to find the quadrant and think about the reference angle. These two things, very, very important to being successful in navigating the unit circle and evaluating trigonometric ratios without your graphing calculator.